Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a bloody good day to you there, sir. Hope you're all doing well. We're back again with some Age of Empires 4. Today we're going to just do a bit of a beginner's guide to beating the hard AI / using the English civilization. So I've started playing the English a lot recently, and I feel like I've got the kind of the early game down with getting to the feudal age pretty quickly. In my opinion, there'll be a lot of people out there which probably disagree. But anyway, I've recently joined the Age of Empires 4 community page on Facebook, and there's a lot of posts out there which are asking people's advice and tips and tricks on how to, get a bit quicker in the early age, maybe get an advantage, and just trying to get the upper hand, because that early game is pretty important, especially if you're doing a 1 versus 1. If you're doing a team game, it's not as important because you can rely on your teammates. Obviously, you don't want to be that person, bringing the team down, but you can't help these things sometimes. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to talk. I pre-recorded this game, and I'm just going to do some commentary over the top, kind of explaining what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, etc. And hopefully this will help people out there, kind of that early game down to a fine art. Not that mine is, but anyway. So we're versing the hard AI. I've versed them previously as the Mongols, I think it was, and I lost pretty badly. But I've been practicing. I'm getting better, I think. So what we started out doing, the 6 villagers to start with, we put 5 of them on food straight away, as you saw. 1 builds 2 houses, and then you want to queue up as many villagers as you can on the TC while you're scouting for sheep. Now, as you can see, I've got 2 villagers there on gold. I've got 3 villagers on gold, 6 on food, and then 2 on wood. Now, because I'm playing as the English, and the first building you get is the one that produces longbows at 100% speed. Now, those units are, I think it's, off the top of my head, it's 90 wood and 90 food and 60 wood, I think. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Now, I got the people on the wood. Usually, if I'm playing another Civ, I would just do the gold and the food. Maybe put an extra couple of people on food, because a lot of other units do require the gold instead of the wood in the early game, for example. So what we're doing with the scout is we're just trying to get out there, find as many sheep as we can, and see where the enemy team is. So we're ready to click up. So we'll do the council hall. So if I have enough food, I will queue as many villagers as I have, or as I can, onto the council hall, and maybe I'll take 1 from gold, or it depends on how many, how well I'm doing on each resource. Okay, so while that's building, we've got people being queued up on the town centre. I could just take them all from food, for example, and get it done quicker, but I want to be able to keep producing villagers, and I want to make as many longbows as I can once that building is complete. Okay? So what we're doing is to just keep scouting. If we can find sheep on the way, that's great. And if we can find the enemy base, that'll be even better. And try and find a way in. So what we'll do is we'll go for the early push. So we're about just over halfway of building the council hall now, and just going to try and keep queuing up as many villages as I can. Okay, so we found the enemy town centre. So they're already clicking up as well, so that's their first landmark they're building. Now I don't know, because when I played the previous game, I can't remember who the enemy team was, but I think it was the French actually. They were pushing me very aggressively, near enough, well, as soon as they could really. And this one, I don't know if I pushed, because I pushed them so early, and I think that might have thrown the AI off a bit, and they weren't probably playing as good as they could, or maybe if it was someone of equal skill, they, you know, would be able to do a bit better. Nevertheless, it kind of shows you the principle and kind of the build order of how to do it. Keep building. Just keep producing villagers. You want to I just evenly distribute them, maybe slightly less on gold, more on food and wood. So we've only got 3 on gold so far, 8 on food and wood. So we'll go back to the scout, and then we'll just keep just doing a bit of recon on the enemy team, just seeing what they've got, if they're producing any units, and just try and find an easy way in. So in this game I thought that this was probably the easier side to push, so I kind of left my scout up there just to, you know, do a bit of recon and just see where they're at. Now you just want to queue up as many longbows as we possibly can, just to kind of be a bit of a pest to them. We want to just try and take their villagers off their resources, and just kind of distract them while we keep building up. So you always want to keep an eye on the bottom left, where it's got the population count. So we're at 28 out of 30, and you just want to you don't want to ever get to 30 out of 30, because then it will stop. The units will research, but they won't spit them out of the building. So you can see that the longbow there, it's researched the longbow, but it's not actually spit it out of the building. So it won't do that until the population increases and you build that house, basically. So my aim now is to try and get some villagers together that I can take up to where the scout is, and make some buildings basically. So I think I'm gonna start with an outpost, and just to provide myself some protection. So if they do push, I've got the longbow. I'll take the longbows up there as well, because certainly against the French you can't just rely on one outpost to defend your villagers whilst they're building. So having the support of the longbows as well is definitely going to aid the protection of the villagers. I mean, I can garrison inside the outpost, but I want them out building, or that's the aim anyway. Okay, so now we've got the villagers and the longbows up west of the enemy base. What we're going to do is going to get that outpost built, and we're just going to try and cause a bit of chaos with the villagers, their villagers, and just be a bit of a nuisance to stop them getting resources, because we don't want them to build basically, or we don't want them to make any units. We want to try and cut that supply line. Okay, so we didn't push until we had the outpost built, because if they started pushing the longbows before we had that built, then they would be unprotected. At least having that support of the outpost, it will just kind of deter them a bit. So they started pushing with the men at arms there that you can see at the top. For some reason they're not pushing, they're just kind of a bit hesitant. So that gives us plenty of time to take out a few villagers whilst we can. Now the good thing about the longbows is they've got such good range on them, so we can stay back from their town centre without getting shot from that. And weirdly, they've placed the mill so far away from their berry bushes. You want that mill really close, as close to the town centre, but as close to the berry bushes as you can. So I would put the mill basically on the berry bushes, and see they're sending villagers out to those berry bushes, but I'm there, so they're just going to get killed. So they're wasting food and villagers, which is what we want. That's kind of the main thing. So what I've also learned recently is making multiple barracks and archery ranges and stuff, so, and stables as well. So at the time, if I've got enough resources, I will make 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 barracks or archery ranges, as many as I can really. We want to take out that priest so they don't heal themselves. Anyway, sorry, what was I saying? You want to make I like making as many as I can, because the units, they take time. They take time to produce, and you want to cut that out. You want to get as many units out as you can, as quick as you can, especially when you're pushing like this. So, because they've got the men at arms, I think I start producing the crossbowmen, because I don't know if they're better than the longbows, but they're good against armored units. So we'll just get rid of these units here. So we'll just keep the longbowmen in range of that outpost, so to supply some extra support. Getting the arrow slits upgrades for the outpost is pretty good as well. And that upgrade with the extra armor. So at this point, watching this gameplay back now, I probably would have start to build stables as well, and definitely I would have done that, build stables and maybe built barracks earlier. But I think my thinking at the time was to not spend so much on building new buildings, and I just wanted to click up to Castle Age. So there's probably experienced people watching this, and saying that they wouldn't do this, they wouldn't do that. But at the time when you're playing it and you're trying to do things as quick as you can, remember everything else. I mean, it's difficult for new players to multitask and micromanage all of this, everything that's going on. So it is what it is. I would definitely change things now, looking back at this, but at the time, you don't necessarily think about these things. But if you practice them, you get into a routine, and you then know what to do for future games. You can see that they've made those light cavalry with the men at arms. So all of the longbows that I'm sending up, they're just getting destroyed basically. So we'll send those longbowmen in to support, and we'll just try and bring them back to the outpost. Just a bit of extra support, because I still got those villagers garrisoned in there, so that will give us some extra support again. I really like the that feature that the longbowmen have with the campfires. I think that's awesome. So what we'll do now is we'll get a barracks up, and because they're producing light cavalry, I think I make spearmen, which is the counter to that. I literally, when I was playing this, I had no idea what they were trying to do. They kept building the outpost and then destroying it, and I literally couldn't work out what they were doing. But anyway, it's just the AI being the AI, I suppose. So they keep doing it to the left of the screen. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. But again, they've put their mill out here, and they're farming for food. So we'll just take them out, and that's just 100 food that they've wasted then. So once again, ready to click up to Castle Age again. But before we do that, I just want to try and stop them building this wall as much as I can. Which these longbows against villagers is just, it's perfect. Okay, so you'll see down the bottom left, I've got 17 villagers idle at the moment, and I think this is kind of my first, not mistake, but because of all those spearmen and the men at arms that I made, that used up my resources to click up. Maybe I should have just used another mill and gone to collect some more berry bushes towards the top right, the east of the map. You can see the little berry bush there. Maybe I should have done that instead, because I wasn't able to click up to Castle Age then. It is what it is, like I said earlier. You don't think of these things at the time, you're just in the moment. It is what it is. So I feel at this stage of the game, I've lost a lot of momentum with resources and the amount of people that I'm producing. So looking back, one way, well, what I should have done is at this stage I should have built another town centre, maybe up where we're pushing, or maybe the other side of my my original base, because I just feel that I should have way more units and more villagers, more income for resources. So that's probably what I would do next time at this stage. Maybe halfway through your feudal age, maybe look at building another town centre. That's what I've started doing in other games as well. So I filmed this about a week ago, or maybe a bit less than a week ago, but I have started doing that now. I think making additional town centres is a must. It's you should definitely do it. It just helps keep the momentum with keep producing villagers and having enough villagers just in case you do get pushed or some do get taken out. At least you can fall back on another town centre then. Also, while we're on the subject of what I should have done, maybe built another archery range here and another barracks. Also, on a side note, my town centre or my base down there is completely open. I've got no defences down there. So at least I, at a minimum, put up some walls. Like they've done here, they've tried to. They've got gaps in their walls. It's like having a bucket with holes in it. It's not doing anything. So now we've just finished building we've just got into Castle Age, and this building that I've got, it acts as a town centre. So essentially I've now got 2 town centres. So we now can produce double the amount of villagers at a time, which is dead handy for getting that that late game boom. So we'll be able to put twice as many villagers, getting twice as many resources, and we can just make a ton of military units. So siege in this game is, I think, it's very heavily focused, and if you have a good siege presence within your army, you're definitely going to reap the benefits of that. A lot of there's definitely some siege units which are very, very powerful, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were going to get nerfed slightly. Definitely the bombard cannons are, I think they're just so powerful, especially the Chinese bombard cannons. They are just crazy. So now we got a couple of mangonels. We got a half decent sized army. Probably would have liked to have got more units, to be fair, but let's run with what we got. They built that outpost there a while ago, so we're just going to take that out. Just for when we do push, we want as few things shooting at us as possible. So let's say, for example, they had a keep right next to that wall. I probably would have built trebuchets and taken that out first, and then would have pushed with units, because you don't want to waste units just getting shot by arrows, where you could just produce 2 trebuchets or 1 trebuchet or 3, 4, however many, just to eliminate that threat. Okay, so let's push the mangonels, and we'll just take down part of this wall. Yeah, those villagers were either they were going to attack the outpost or the mangonels, and they just didn't. So don't have to worry about it too much. But if I've seen that if villagers do go for siege, they can be quite effective sometimes. So we'll just get rid of these archery units here. So an interesting move there. We're going to build one of those defensive wall outposts, and they just put a fair few villagers on it. But luckily we had the mangonels that will just keep them at bay, and we'll just push the units in just to get rid of the villagers. If they put that up, because if we didn't have mangonels, they probably would have pushed me back slightly. I would have probably thought about twice to push. See, look, they're trying to build it again, but we'll just keep pushing because we're behind it now. So I think they only shoot forward the way that they're facing. So we'll just keep pushing in. They're not really making units, so we'll just push in because why not? We'll keep producing units in the background just in case. If they came in with a massive army, then we could have pulled back, but let's just get rid of their landmarks and just win the game. So I just sent everyone in. I aim for their TC because that's one of the landmarks, and their other one, I think it's next to it, that will just basically win us the game if we destroy those 2 landmarks. You'll see at the top left, destroy all enemy landmarks 0 out of 2. That will change to 1. If you destroy all their landmarks, I mean, I'm sure you know, but if you destroy all the landmarks, you win the game, basically. And as far as just to reiterate, I mean, I have played harder AI than this, and I have struggled. I think I was just pretty lucky with this one. You can see their other defense, like their walls, they've put loads of those defensive buildings, but they just haven't built any units. I don't think that's us, or I don't think that was me being a pest. I think they could have, but for some reason they didn't, and that's GG's. That's the game won. This isn't me saying how good I am at the game. This is literally just for purposes of build order and how to effectively apply pressure for a beginner. This isn't an advanced player's guide. You know, I'm not great myself at this game, but I feel that early game I've got it down. You'll definitely, other people will do stuff differently to me, and I'm starting to do stuff differently myself. But this is just a good representation of basically what you should be doing in the early game. I do need to work on my late game. Like I said, halfway through, I feel like I could have made another town centre earlier and done things differently. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if it's helped you, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.